Hi everyone. As many of you opting for TOEFL exam, some of you may not be aware about the new format of the test. So in today's video, we are going to dive deeper into the new format of TOEFL test. So make sure you watch the entire video and take notes. My name is Vivek. You're watching Acecom. Let's get into it. So let's get into the TOEFL exam format for those who may not be aware. So TOEFL is nothing but test of English as a foreign language. It's another English proficiency test for those who wish to apply for the higher education in English speaking countries. So let's dive deeper into the exam format. So we have 4 sections in TOEFL exam. So first, the reading section. So according to the new format, the reading section, you get the time 35 minutes for 20 questions, which is better if you compare it with the old format where you had to go for more than 50 questions and for 1 hour of time. So your reading, which is considered one of the toughest among all sections, has been reduced to less number of questions for less amount of time. So before we get into detail of the sections, let me one thing I want you to get clear with, that the total duration is 116 minutes. That's about 2 hours, and each section scored from 0 to 30. That's the maximum you can score in each section, 30 marks, making the highest possible score of 120. So your TOEFL score is calculated out of 120 marks in total. For each section, you have 30 marks. So reading section. So for reading, you have to read the passages and respond to questions. Okay, so if you have attempted the IELTS exam before, or if you're aware about the IELTS exam, you can go for the questions first and then locate the answers in the passages. Here, for the TOEFL exam, you're recommended that for the reading, you read the passage first and then go for the questions. For listening, you have to go for 28 questions for 36 minutes. So yes, you have less number of time for more number of questions. And you have to answer questions about brief lectures or classroom discussions, something we need to practice. Speaking is about 16 minutes and you have 4 tasks to complete. You have to talk about a familiar topic and discuss some material they have read or heard. And then for writing, you get 29 minutes for 2 tasks. That's not a lot of time, so you have to practice writing faster on the topics given. You have to read a passage, listen to a recording, and provide a response. So also you have to state and support your opinion in an online classroom discussion. So let's get into the details of each section, starting with the reading section. In TOEFL reading section, you have several different types of questions you need to cater to. So let's look at some odd 10 types of reading questions. First, inference questions, where you need to make logical conclusions based on the passage. Okay, what is the conclusion of the passage that you read? What you can get from it? Okay, then vocabulary questions test your understanding of specific words within the context. Right here, what's important is words within the context. So, because as we know, certain words can have multiple meanings in English. But here, the contextual meaning is something that will be tested in the exam. Then rhetorical purpose questions. It assess why the author included certain piece of information in a particular way. Also, it goes back into understanding the purpose of the author behind mentioning certain points. So here your comprehension is really tested and not just ability of locating answers like in the IELTS exam. Then detailed questions, that is factual information. When we say factual information, it's about the numbers and the facts and the statistics. Okay, so they ask for specific information stated in the passage. You have to locate that information in the passage. Negative factual information questions. So similar as before, the only difference is you have to identify information that is not true according to the passage. Okay. Then essential information questions. So simplify a complex sentence to its essential meaning. Okay, so you might get a question with a sentence that is either from passage or in general a complex sentence, and you have to really understand the meaning as per the context in passage. Then sentence insertion questions. Determine where a new sentence best fits within the passage. Okay, so when you will be given a new sentence, and then you have to understand from the context of the passage where you can fit that sentence from the question, where, in which paragraph, right? So that's something, a good challenge to have. Complete the summary questions. So again, this is if you can really get the conclusion right. We had a question about the conclusion. So if you can understand the passage, what is the purpose, how can you conclude, summarize the passage, then it wouldn't be that challenging for you to understand the main ideas of the passage. Then complete the table questions. So similar to IELTS exam, you have to organize the information from the passage into a table format. Okay, so these are different types of reading questions that you may come across in your TOEFL exam. Okay, so again, what was some tips or recommendations for you while you go through these questions in your TOEFL exam is you have to skim the passage first, as I said before, to get a general idea before answering the questions, and refer back to the passage to find specific information for detailed question. So in general, when we talk about reading, there are two types of uh, reading methods: skimming and scanning, and both are tested in TOEFL exam. How good you are at skimming the passage and how good you are at scanning the passage when you're locating the specific information asked in the question. Okay, let's go to next section, that is our TOEFL listening section. So in TOEFL listening section, again you have 8 odd types of questions that you require to do. Let's quickly take a look at those questions. So just, what is just? Just means a glimpse, a broad idea about something. Okay, so just about content. So identify the main idea or purpose of the lecture or conversation. What is the point of that lecture? What is the point of that whole conversation? So that's something you need to identify. Then just about the purpose. Understand why something was said or done. Okay, so now there's a small difference here. You have to identify the main idea of the whole lecture or conversation. In the second one, why some piece of information, some dialogue, some details mentioned, what is the purpose behind that specific piece of information. That's a small difference. Then detail, uh, very popular. Answer questions about specific details mentioned. Okay, again similar as in the second type, that why something is mentioned, some specific piece of information, that's something you have to understand and answer. Then understanding the speaker's attitude, infer the speaker's feelings or opinions, right? You have to really understand what the speaker is feeling or why the speaker has a certain opinion. Okay, so it's on the similar lines of understanding the purpose behind what the speaker is saying or suggesting. Then understanding the function, you have to determine why something was said or something was done, by the speaker or by any character in the story. Okay, so that is called the function, something said or something done. Making inferences. Now you have to draw conclusion. Okay, what is inference? Means your understanding of something. So how is that tested? By understanding the your ability, right? How good you are at drawing the conclusions based on the information given. Okay, so the information will be given to you and you have to draw some conclusion, what you can conclude from it. Then understanding organization, recognize how information is structured. So when I say organization here, it means how the information is organized, how it is structured. Okay, exactly how we are looking at the exam structure here, right? Different sections, within different sections, different types of questions. So same in the passage or in the audio, you always have to understand the structure of it. It helps you to dissect the different points mentioned by different characters and their purpose behind it. Connecting content, relate different pieces of information within the conversation or lecture. So you may have more than one different points, right? One character may mention two or three points same by the other character in the story. Then you have to somehow connect those dots. What is the relation between those different pieces of information? You may, and then you may answer the questions based on your understanding. Now, in order to tackle these questions, you have to first take notes while listening to capture key points and details. This is something that makes TOEFL exam a bit challenging compared to IELTS. In IELTS, you get to see the questions first, then you listen to the audio and you just mark answers while listening to the audio. Here, you get the audio first, the recording, some that you have to listen. While listening, you may not know the questions. So while listening itself, you have to take notes of the important points and then make up your mind about the understanding about the purpose of the piece of information or the main idea, so that you're equipped to answer the questions that are going to come. Okay, and pay attention to the speaker's tone and attitude to answer attitude questions accurately, because sometimes the purpose or the attitude, the reason behind a speaker's opinion, it based on the feelings of the speaker and not always the facts. So that's something you have to also take into consideration while taking notes, so that you can answer the related questions correctly. Okay, also you have to review your notes and the questions to ensure you connect the information correctly. Very important. Now, after reading and listening section, let's move on to the smallest section, the TOEFL speaking section. Okay, in speaking section, it assesses your ability to speak English in academic context. Now, since that you have uh, gone for TOEFL exam, it mainly focuses on the academic context. So that's something you should be equipped to be able to talk the relevant vocabulary, right? The right structure, the sentence formation. So that's something tested in this IELTS speaking section. Okay, so you have a couple of tasks to go for. So see the format of speaking section. Question 1 is independent speaking task. So you'll be required to respond to the question based on your own ideas, opinions and experiences. Okay, so it's something is more about you, and which is why you're supposed to answer them naturally without having to think so much if you really want to build a strong first impression on examiner. So it's something worth practicing, the question 1. And for the question 2, 3 and 4, it is more integrated speaking tasks. What do I mean by that? So one is independent. It's a separate topic solely focused on you, your ideas, opinions. But then tasks 2, 3, and 4, you'll be required to combine your speaking skills, that is your language skills overall, rather listening, speaking, and reading to respond. Okay, so you might have to read, listen, right, and then based on those, you have to answer the questions. Okay, now you get 15 to 30 seconds of preparation time before each response, which is an advantage in speaking test for TOEFL. You will get 15 to 30 seconds. That seems not so much, but still something you can really utilize to make your responses sharper. Okay, we should be 45 to 60 seconds long for each response combining. And some tips for you to approach this section. Practice your pronunciation and speed of speaking to maintain a natural pace. Very important. So many students believe it's crucial to speak faster. It's not. I never recommend my student to go for faster speaking. Speaking should be easily understood by the examiner, by anyone for that matter. What's important is you maintain the natural pace and without any obstruction, without any obstacle to the flow, you can speak and express your idea in as effective manner as possible. Right? Simple as that. And then organize your thoughts quickly during the preparation time. Okay, very important that you practice enough that the preparation time you have, not quite a lot, you can prepare yourself to be able to speak confidently and naturally without much uh, restrictions in your thought process. Also use examples to support your responses and make them more compelling. Now, it might seem a bit daunting tasks, right, to be able to organize your thoughts and then also add examples to support your ideas to make them compelling. But trust me, when you practice enough, even if for 2 to 4 weeks, you have more than enough confidence to be able to uh, go and do better in your speaking test. Okay, and the last section, TOEFL writing section, something you need more practice, I think, than any other section. So you have two writing tasks and you get 30 minutes to complete. Okay, so integrated writing, you will be required to read a passage and listen to a lecture, then propose a response. Okay, so this is an integrated task, not a separate. You get the passage to read, you get a lecture to listen, and then you have to make up your mind about the purpose, about the idea, and then uh, you know pen your response. Okay, and second, writing for an academic discussion. So you'll be required to state and support an opinion in an online classroom discussion. Now how you're supposed to do this, that you'll be given a topic, okay, and then you have to take aside what is your opinion on this. Do you support it? If you do not support it, what are your reasons? So that's something you should be able to put forward confidently. Okay, in order to make your writing section better, the tips are: draft an outline of your response before you start writing to ensure a clear structure. So it's very important that first you come up with the right structure before you start writing, so that when you write, it's relevant and it is well structured, so that the examiner, the reader, would get clear idea that how you have understood and put forward your opinion. Use specific examples to support your arguments. Now, uh, when you're making your structure before you start writing, so make sure you add at least a couple of examples for your opinions that tells the reader, that tells examiner that you can think uh, about the topic independently and use references from your experience to express your ideas effectively. Very important to practice. Then you can proofread your work to correct any minor grammatical errors. This might be the only section where you get some time to quickly take a look at your responses before submission if you have made any mistakes and if you really need to correct them, and if you do, you can, right? So that's a bit advantage you have there. Okay, so that's almost summarizing the structure of TOEFL exam. Again, going back to the broad structure, you have 4 sections: reading, listening, speaking, writing. The total duration is almost 2 hours. Each section has 30 marks to score maximum, taking your score to 120. And if you ask me, from my experience, it's not difficult to score about 90, 94, or even 100 for that matter. If you can get 100 or above out of 120, there is no university you cannot get into. Okay, so you better start practicing from today. If you want more detail on each section and the types of questions in each section and how you can tackle those different types of questions, make sure that you watch my videos on TOEFL reading, listening, speaking, and writing independent sections, where I dissect each type of question and how you can respond effectively to those questions to ensure you get the highest score possible. So I hope you got the good understanding of new format of TOEFL test. If you have any questions, make sure that you comment so that I can answer them. And if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for new videos. See you in the next one.